welcome to week 2 of your Back Pain Solutions homework. So our homework for week 2 has been split into 2 sections. We have the abdominal massage, which is wonderful if you're suffering from constipation or slightly sluggish bowels. We also have this section here, which is mobility for the coccyx, because week 2's theme is all about the coccyx and the pelvis and the bowels, then everything that sits within the pelvis. So what we have is just some really, really beautiful mobilisers here for you now. You're going to need a couple of things. Your ball that's looking a little sad and deflated. I'm using a yoga block, but you can use something else, a ball or a sock or something like that, something we can just feel on our back as we're doing some cat and cow poses, and a cushion. Of course, we're working on our knees, so something soft underneath your knees would be brilliant, something like a mat or a towel or something. So we're going to start with our cat and cow pose, and I'm sure you've done hundreds of these previously, but today we're going to just break them down a little bit more so. So coming on to all fours, we're going to start with a really small cat and cow. Bearing in mind our spine isn't thoroughly warmed up yet, we just want to take these lovely small motions, lifting up, lowering down. The key points we want to think of in this one is that the shoulders are directly above the wrists, the hips are directly above the knees. The next key point we want to focus on is when we lift up, we're tucking the tailbone so it heads towards the back of the knees, creating space through the lower back. We're drawing the belly button upwards towards the spine so we can stretch through the mid-back, and then tucking the chin. So the chin tucks down to the chest so we can stretch into the cervical and the top part of the thoracic spine. As we go through into our arch, we're going to lift the tailbone and imagine pushing the 2 bottom cheeks apart. So we curl under, bottom cheeks together, curl back, bottom cheeks apart. This time the belly drops downwards rather than rises up, and the chin lifts. So we create this lovely full movement through the spine. What I'd like us to do now is isolate specific areas. So we're going to start with the neck. So I'd like you to pop your block or your sock or whatever it is you've got, something that you can just feel. And we're going to start just with getting the neck moving. So we're going to drop the chin down, lift the chin up. And the rest of the body is staying relatively still. And we'll take around about 5 or 6 repetitions in each movement we do. Shuffling the block a little bit lower now, so into the small of the back. I'm not helped by my t-shirt I've got on today. You're going to curl upwards and then down. We're moving just the thoracic part of the spine now. So this is the part that we really focused on last week, where the rib cage is. So I want you to imagine lifting the rib cage up, lowering the rib cage down, trying to keep that block fairly still. There, of course, is going to be some movement, but what we don't want is the block to fall off. Okay, so maybe 5 or 6 of those in that position. Really allow the rib to rock through, lift up and lower through. This time we're going to move the block a little bit higher, so it's going to come about where your bra strap would be, and this time we're going to do just the lumbar spine. So thinking of that tailbone tucking under, the tailbone lifting up, bottom cheeks apart. So tuck under, push apart. Breathing in, breathing out. And you may find that you notice your pelvic floor an awful lot more in this position here. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Right, then lose the block entirely, and let's return back to the full cat and cow. Hopefully you can notice now we have so much more movement. The spine moves a bit more freely, and each of us are going to have different points that feel really tight. For me, it's always my lumbar spine that feels the grumpiest, whereas now, hopefully, because we've done a little bit of individual mobility, it feels a little freer. Okay, just give your wrists a little break, maybe you've just come off them a sec. Next up, we're going to try and imagine our coccyx has a pen nib on the end of it. So our coccyx is pointing that way with a pen nib, and we're going to draw some circles on the back wall, on the wall behind you. So it'll start off nice and small, a little bit like this. So little circles, and they gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger. So circling round, you're drawing right down to the skirting board, right up towards the ceiling, all the way over to the left, all the way over to the right. And then when you're ready, let's reverse that. So going the opposite way round. You might have to really focus at this point to go the opposite way. So nice big circles, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Inhale and exhale, try not to hold your breath until we've got the biggest possible circle. And then take a breather, come off the wrists again. This time round, I want you to imagine that there's a pen pointing upwards to the ceiling, so as if there's a pen coming out the top of the coccyx. And again, we're going to start with those small circles, get them bigger and bigger and bigger. So back down onto the floor, and we're going to start to sway side to side. So circles. So the back stays fairly straight, and you might even need to take the hands forwards a little bit so that we can start to have these lovely big circles here. Going round to the front, to the back, to the side. Keeping your breathing constant, breathing in through the nose, back out through the nose. And when you're ready, going the other way. I have to say, this is one of my favourites. I could do this all day. It feels so nice. And then bring yourself down to a rest. Lovely. Then the next one I'd like, you're going to need your ball for this one. So we're going to lie on our back. I'm going to use a little pillow to go underneath my head. So grab a pillow or a cushion. Lie yourself down. Get nice and comfortable first of all. So get your pillow in place. Let the shoulders relax into the floor. Feet are about hip width apart. And when you're ready, you're going to take your ball and pop it underneath the sacrum and the coccyx. So we're not in the small of the back. If I lift it out of the way, we're not in the small of the back. We're definitely on the bottom, the back side of the bottom. Let the rib cage relax down. So what we should hopefully have created here is just a little space in the lower back. So the lower back is just gently pressed towards the floor. It won't necessarily touch because the ball is lifting the hips. But we're nice and calm. And the same as last week when we said about the brain, just needing to recognise that we're in a slightly different position, we've got a ball under the hips, it's a little unusual. Just take a moment just to settle in. And when you're ready, we're going to start to do some little rocks left and right. So it's as if you're lowering your left bottom cheek, then your right, then your left, then your right. And it may feel a little uncomfortable. You might find that actually you want to have a little less air in the ball. You might need a little more air. So just find what feels good. Your ball also might make some rather interesting noises, so don't worry if it does. Then we're going to hike the hips up and down. So you pop your hands onto your hips and your ribs. Lift the fingertips up towards the ribs. Fingertip to rib. Left and right. Really delicate, really, really slow mobility work. And let's go back to those little sways left and right. We're now going to start to do some tucks. So imagine your tailbone tucking under. So now my tailbone is pointing up towards the wall, and then I'm gently pushing it into the wall. So tuck and release. And tuck and release. And tuck and release. And it's such a small, delicate move, really, really nice and calming. Breathing in, breathing out. And then finally, we're just going to give a little bit of calm to the pelvic floor, a little bit of calm towards the deeper muscles within the pelvis. So if you take your fingertips, I pop them one on top of each other, and press gently onto your pubic symphysis. This is the bony bit right at the bottom of your belly muscles. So if you feel down, you'll feel this softness, 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 hard bone. That's the bit that we want to press on. So breathing in, and then gently press, gently but firmly, press on the pubic symphysis. Lots of the pelvic floor muscles attached here, then let go, breathing in, and press. So it's a way just to help them relax. And release, breathing in, breathing out and press. And breathing in, and breathing out and press. And then gently relax. So that concludes your homework. This lovely mobility work could be done every day if you wanted to. When you want to come out of this, just gently lift the hips and slide the ball out. Take a moment just to let the pelvis readjust. So perhaps have a go with this. You could do it before you go for your daily walk or after your daily walk. So hopefully when the body's a little warmer, so we've got that lovely, lovely pliability, perhaps even do the back care, the spinal warm-up that's in your video section as well. So I hope that in conjunction with the abdominal massage really, really helps keep that coccyx and keep the lower part of the spine in a really, really happy condition. Next week is week 3 and we move on up to the upper part of the neck. So into the neck, into the jaw, and we're going to have a look at headaches. So I think there's going to be some really, really wonderful information for you there. Right, any problems, you know, you can always get in touch with me, so let me know how you've got on. Right, take care and look after that coccyx.